As a woman who many regard as a rising star in GOP leadership, how does the GOP find true north again?
Well, I mean, I think what you're seeing is we are a representative democracy, right? What you're seeing is we're representing the will of the people in our districts. And guess what? 330 million people don't all have the same opinion. So you're seeing that represented. A Mike Waller district is going to be much better, or going to be much different than a Beth Van Duyne or a Ronnie Jackson district. Those are the thoughts, the feelings that you're actually seeing being brought to the GOP table. Much unlike, much different than what you see with our Democrat colleagues, is we're not all thinking the exact same thing, because we all go home and we talk to our constituents. We have roundtables. We have meet and greets. We have opportunities with town halls to be able to hear what's going on and put our thumb on the pulse of our districts. What you're seeing is infighting, because that's what America's doing right now. We're not all on the same page. We all have different opinions.
Well, I'm wondering how many, air quotes, Republicans go home and their constituents say, hey, I want you to do everything the Democrats do. I wonder how many conversations like that are happening.
I don't think any.
Earlier today.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying. I mean, what's the point of electing Republican if you're just going to do the Democrat stuff? Earlier today, you voted with an overwhelming majority in the House, passing a bill that could ban TikTok. But there are growing concerns, and you heard me articulate them with a senator, Congresswoman, that in the tradition of the Patriot Act, this bill could empower government to attack Americans and not our foreign enemies. What do you make of the criticism? And if it is a valid criticism, how do you fix it in conference?
I think what you saw over the last several weeks is TikTok having a very strategic plan to be able to unduly influence government in its works. We were having hundreds of calls from kids into our office that obviously did not understand the bill, didn't even understand that they were calling a Congress member's office. If they tried to open up the app, it was said before you could even open the app, you're going to have to connect here, you're going to have to link here. And it was a link to their Congress member's office to be able to complain about TikTok. We had people threatening suicide in our office. When you have an app that's been downloaded 210 million times, when nearly, 2 out of 3 teens are on it for an average of 9 hours a week, I would say that that's very undue influence. In fact, they were able to pull together that kind of strategic action on Capitol Hill that was completely misinformed. This was never a ban on TikTok. What this was saying that we're not going to allow China to use a military tool to be able to unduly influence and target on our youth. This was not about revenue. This was not about private corporations. This was about allowing a foreign national adversary to have that type of personal reaction, that type of personal data on over 100 million of our Americans. I don't think that's what the American people want. I don't think it's good for national security, and that's why I voted for the bill.
All right, before I get to the last question, I just want to be very clear. You are positive that this targets a foreign enemy and not our own people?
That was why I would never vote. Chris, you know me. I would never vote for a bill that I thought was going to target Americans. This was always about keeping communist China and its communist ideas out of the realm of being able to work within our own country and, again, targeting our youth.
All right. Now, it appears the GOP called Hunter Biden's bluff. For months now, the first son was demanding a public hearing. I'll do a public hearing. And now that the Oversight Committee has offered him a public hearing, guess what? He doesn't want to show. Can Hunter Biden be compelled to appear?
Yeah, he can. I'm sure that's what Jim Jordan's going to do. And I'm sure, Comer's going to kind of follow in footsteps. But look, the Bidens have had a really rough week. When you look at the testimony of Robert Hur and his calling into question on the entire Biden family, you have him calling into question Biden's ability to be able to stand trial. He was very clear that the documents that he had in his possession were not kept. They were not in a safe place, that he could have been found guilty in a court had they pursued that, but he didn't, because they found that he was not going to be able to be well in court. And yet this is the man that we're calling our president. They've had a tough week. And if I were Hunter, would you want to really have to kind of pile up on that? But yeah, could he be compelled to do it? Yes. Will he be compelled to do it? I'm sure he will. But you understand why he doesn't want to do it. And yeah, we called his bluff, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of both partners for doing that.